In this video I am talking about this ultra compact Sony 50mm f2.5 G lens. If you are here for the first time, my name is Pav, and on this channel I talk a lot about 50mm lenses, or at least it feels like it. But seriously, I talk here about all things photography and video, cameras and lenses from different brands, reviews, tutorials and more. If this is something that you are interested in, then please consider subscribing. Follow me on Instagram as well, where I also post photos and videos from my reviews regularly. This new 50mm f2.5 lens from Sony is a part of a new trio of ultra compact lenses, all the same size and external look, and in 24mm, 40mm and this 50mm focal ranges. If you already follow me here, you might know that I am a huge fan of 50mm focal length, and this lens was on my radar ever since it was announced. Not only because it is 50mm, it is, but also its size. It is a very small lens, and also its premium price suggests that it does in fact deliver premium results. Before I go into it, I must say a huge thanks to UK Digital for lending me this lens for this review. However, as always, I was not asked or paid by anyone to say anything specific about it, so this is my honest and 100% unbiased opinion about this lens. So how does it perform? From the first photo I have taken with it, I was very impressed with its sharpness. I am sure I am going to say it a lot of times in this review, but this lens is exceptionally sharp. We are talking about the G Master sharpness here, even wide open. The aperture is only f2.5. I guess it's not wider than this to keep the overall size of the lens down, but it also hugely contributes to the sharpness wide open, as most lenses suffer from the softness below f2. The autofocus is completely silent and very quick and accurate. The images this lens produces are just outstanding in every way. Yes, you are not going to get the super shallow depth of field you get with f1.4 or f1.8 primes, especially when shooting wider, but it is only a small difference. To be honest, when I used to shoot with DSLR cameras before I moved into the mirrorless, I always had back focus issues with wide aperture primes, and by default I'd shoot everything at f2.2 or f2.5 to be on a safe side. This performs impeccably at all apertures, and even back focusing is not an issue anymore with most of the modern Sony cameras. f2.5 is not a bad thing with this lens, and even though I do like shooting ultra wide apertures, this gives me so much more than just super shallow depth of field. It is still shallow f2.5. It is just not as shallow as f1.4, but also I have never seen f1.4 lens this size. Yes, this lens is ultra small, and that makes it a perfect everyday lens to just have with you in case you need it, or have on a camera when out and about. Perfect for gun and run type of photography, and one that truly fits a nifty 50 definition. The sharpness is just outstanding, but the lens delivers enough character for this to deliver results that are not clinical. As with all premium Sony lenses, and I think I can safely say that this is a premium lens in a tiny package, the color and contrast is also outstanding, delivering amazing blues and greens, and there's literally almost no chromatic aberration. In my experience, all lenses suffer from chromatic aberration, but with some it's more obvious than with others. With this 50mm I really struggled to capture it. Very good optical performance, top class here. It delivers below average for 50mm focal range, minimum focusing distance of 35 cm when autofocusing and 31 cm manually focusing, making it even more versatile for a wider range of shooting scenarios. For video work, this is no different, although I do like bigger and heavier lenses to give me more stability when handheld shooting, but big and heavier lenses are not always practical. The size of this makes it really great for gimbal shooting and also for travel and all kinds of filming situations when you don't want to bring a lot of attention to yourself, like documentary or event filming. Autofocus performance is again very good, very hard to fault it, making it a very reliable tool that can deliver very good, and did I say sharp yet? Yes, sharp results that are hard to beat. If that's something important to you, there's quite a bit of focus breathing visible, not something that ever bothered me personally with any lens, but I know that for a lot of you out there it could be a deal breaker. But don't forget how sharp it is, that really overshadows everything. The build, As I already said, this is an ultra compact lens designed to match the size and external look of other two in the set. This is particularly useful when filming and when you need to change lenses without changing the rig and overall size of the rig. Although they are all slightly different weight, they are similar enough to be easily exchangeable when using gimbals. Also great when traveling and to keep the size of your kit as small as possible when shooting for longer periods of time, photography or video. 45mm long and weighing only 174 grams is certainly lightweight, but it's very well made. All metal and hard plastic construction. It comes with this unusual looking lens hood. I actually thought it was a part of the lens, as you can actually attach filters to the end of the hood or directly to the lens, and it takes 49mm filters. I like that there is a physical difference between the focus and aperture rings, with the aperture ring being slightly raised up so you can feel it easier when you have the camera to your eye and want to do any changes without looking at the lens. Standard manual and autofocus switch, focus hold button, and the clickable aperture ring for smooth changes if that's what you prefer. I'd personally use variable ND filters to control the brightness when filming, but I know that some photographers also prefer smooth aperture rings when shooting photos, so it's not just for filmmakers. I kind of like these manual vintage feel aperture rings, as they make the aperture changes from whatever setting to wide open much quicker by doing it on the lens than with the camera dials. 7 aperture blades with circular diaphragm, creating really nice and natural looking bokeh. There is no optical image stabilization built in, but the lens is dust and moisture resistant. I am pretty sure it is focused by wire, but Sony claims that it has linear focus response. It kind of does, but the manual focus ring is a little bit too soft for my liking. I think it would be better if it had a more resistance. The value, this lens is actually more expensive here in UK than across the big pond. I point this way because I'm pretty sure that the big pond is that way, or maybe that way, I don't know. It retails for £629 here and only $598 in US. Although it's not cheap or very budget friendly, it really has got no competition in this class or this size. We do have Sony 55mm f1.8 Zeiss, which is slightly more expensive, and although it has got wider aperture and is fairly small, it is still bigger and heavier than this. The Zeiss lens also has got no buttons like the focus hold or AF on and off switch, but it also hasn't got the manual aperture control like this lens has. They are all not features that everyone needs, but at the same time, for some users, these are exactly what will make them to choose this new lens instead of the 55, regardless of the widest aperture on the 55. There's also Sigma 45mm f2.8, probably the closest rival to this on paper at least. It is actually cheaper, but in my opinion one Sigma lens that really doesn't stand out quality wise, certainly nowhere near the quality of this lens. And there is Sigma 65mm f2 contemporary lens that is very good in its own right and similarly priced, but too far away from that magical 50mm focal length, and it is also much bigger and heavier than this. When looking at its value, you have to also take into the consideration that it is a part of the size matching trio of lenses. It is an incredible performer. It is very small, but although there is no another autofocusing Sony-E mount lens like this, I think it is still a little bit too expensive. I think it would be a perfect nifty 50 overall if the price was even 100 or 150 pounds or dollars lower than it is. If you can find it cheaper second hand, that would certainly make it a really good value for money. But it also could be a good value for money for anyone who just needs one lens that is good enough to shoot pretty much anything with, and it is very small. Someone who do want to shoot with a full frame camera while traveling but without the pain of carrying huge and heavy G Master lenses, this can deliver quality on par with G Master lenses, but in this tiny package. Conclusion: it is not a lens for everyone. The f2.5 minimum aperture is going to put off a lot of camera and lens snobs. You can only crank it up to 10. It won't go to 11. But if you make the f2.5 your 11, then this lens can really outshine a lot of other 50mm from all brands for Sony-E and even other manufacturers. This lens is sharp, small, light, easy to use to capture amazing photos and videos with, but it's not cheap. This kind of money will get you alternatives in that focal range, but will any of them match the quality and the sharpness this lens can deliver? You can say that sharpness is not everything, and you know what? You're right, but if you want to soften super sharp photos or video, you can easily do that in post. But you can't make photos and videos shot with an inferior lens sharper when the sharpness is not there. I really like it for many reasons, and it is definitely one of the best nifty 50 lenses for Sony right now. One that will never become a classic, or one that everyone talks about just because it is only f2.5. Shame, as it really deserves more recognition for the outstanding image and video quality it delivers, and it is super sharp. And this is it from me. If you like this video, please give me that thumbs up. Please consider subscribing, hit that bell button to receive notifications of my future videos. Type your comments below, let me know what you think about this lens, and follow me on Instagram for more photos and videos from me. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Hey, I'm out of breath again. Sharp, and even though very sharp, that's so many words. 45 millimeters long. It retails, boom, motherfucker.